I got to be honest, I love the hire of Brett Bielema, and I know it was largely considered, I think, by many of my peers in college football to be one of the better ones of the offseason. Here's what Brett Bielema does, and does as well as anybody. This is what we're going to do. This is our identity. This is who we are, and he plays, and I think coaches with that kind of conviction. And for that program in particular, after all the ups and the downs and everything that's gone on over the last few years, to have someone to really steady the ship in that way, I think that's why it was a tremendous hire, let alone what he's going to do and implement on the field.
I think it's a great hire when you look at how the SEC is built on two backs and power teams and things of that sort. There's only Texas A&M is really the only enigma right now in terms of spread offenses and wide open. Gus Malzahn's coming back at Auburn, but Brett gives you what the SEC is built about: two backs, power, defensively being strong on that side of the ball, and then consistent play at quarterback.
Well, that was an excellent hire. I mean, to get a guy who's been a proven winner, go to the Rose Bowl as many times as he has, and I think also Brett understands in this league what it takes to win. I mean, he's a guy, you go back and look at his track record, they run the football, big, tough, physical offensive line, they play good defense. Now, he's got his work cut out, and he knows that. I mean, it's not going to be one of these deals where he comes right in and they're competing for SEC championships. But I think his model, his blueprint will work.
It's been awesome. It's been a real smooth transition. I feel like obviously he's got a great track record. Being from Wisconsin, he's been to 3 straight Rose Bowls, has a great record, and we hope that with his philosophy he can bring that to Arkansas.
Love him. I am a huge fan of Brett Bielema. I think that he is the right guy for this job. He's an SEC-minded head coach in terms of the way that he wants to play football. Now it's going to take time. I mean, he comes into a team that's obviously got a new quarterback. They lose top 2 rushers. They lose top receivers. They have their work cut out for them, and I think anybody that expects a quick turnaround at Arkansas probably needs to take a really close look at what Bielema's inheriting.
I think one of the big things I learned from Coach B is, focusing on the task at hand. Like I said, he has a saying that's want to know, and with the want to know thing, he focuses on, what you got to do today, not really looking, at later on in the season, later on in the year, not even later on in the week. He always says want to know, and I think that's one of the big things I really taken from so far.
I think one of the things that Brett Bielema will bring to Arkansas is a proven track record of success. There'll be a lot of questions at SEC Media Days about his style, and I don't mean the fact that he has a good personality and a good sense of humor, which should fit right in with some of the big personalities in this conference. But of course, that sort of Midwestern mentality, that power running game, that attention to the ground game and big offensive linemen, a different style, and attention to defense. I think those are things that will actually translate quite well to the SEC.
I think it will take a little bit of time. There's one thing that Brett and what they did at Wisconsin as well as anybody, and that was develop their personnel. Go back and look at how many top 25 recruiting classes, how many stars were by all those kids' names that they brought there to Madison, and they weren't anywhere near their peers. They shouldn't have got them to Rose Bowl after Rose Bowl. He develops his players. I think you'll have to have a little patience as they change their identity and what they're going to do. Develop the guys up front, because it's a line of scrimmage league and you hired a line of scrimmage coach.
Well, I think number one, Coach Bielema is going to bring a toughness and a physicality to Arkansas. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think over time, Coach Bielema is going to get his type of player in there and, like I said, bring that physicality and change Arkansas football into a running football team. I know at Wisconsin, he ran the football a lot, probably 65–70% of the time some years. So it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But I'll tell you, I think he's a heck of a football coach, and he's going to do a great job and do great things at Arkansas.
If all 22 seniors are playing their best ball, it's hard for us to beat, for other teams to beat us. So that's one thing. It's not who you play, it's how you play. So we're just going out and just play hard at every game.
Be patient. Be patient. I think you have the right head coach. I never saw that coming. I never saw Brett Bielema being the guy that they end up making, that Jeff Long ends up hiring, but I think he's the right guy.
Well, it'll be tough. It'll be a transition year. I think when you look at Brandon Allen taking over at quarterback, you'll need a solid running game to kind of ease him into the position, as well as consistent offensive line play up front. Those have been some instances where there have been challenges for Arkansas the last couple of seasons, as well as on the defensive side, maybe giving up too many big plays. And I think that's where Brett steps in, and he's able to help kind of put a Band-Aid on those things, slow him down as he continues to build the program.
Coach B, when he came in, he says, a lot of people are looking at us as a rebuild year for this program. We're not waiting 3 years to be successful. We're gonna be successful this year, and that's a mentality we've had since day one that he stepped foot on that campus. So you know, we had that going through spring ball, had that going through the entire summer. And we're gonna have that going in the fall camp.
Just focusing on, you know, one day at a time. I think that's what's really going to put us in position to be able to shock people, you know. When no one expects you to do anything and then you do something, that's, you know, pretty good shock. But right now, you know, we don't have all the pressure on us. We can just go and focus on, you know, getting better every day. And then when the time comes and the bright lights come, then we can show up.
I'm really coming off a season like last year. It's just like, don't look back at the past, don't look back at the future, just focus on now, just focus on today, and try to beat today and worry about tomorrow later. And that's one thing you gotta do, especially coming from the situation we did last year. I mean, obviously nobody wants to win, you know, only just 4 games. We keep that in the back of our mind, keep that chip on our shoulders, and just try to take one day at a time.
I'd say the first step is just to, you know, you gotta identify exactly what it is that Coach Bielema wants to get accomplished, you know, the goals that we set. And we've set, you know, high expectations for ourselves. We know a lot of people have us as an underdog. We're embracing that role, and we're going to try and shock a lot of people this year.